Good morning again.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so glad you're here, Jaclyn. Thank you. So what is kindness.org?
We are a nonprofit, and we're the only organization that conducts scientific research, largely working with evolutionary psychologists to understand the role of things like kindness and cooperation throughout humanity. And then we apply those findings into evidence-based programming that can be brought into different environments, mostly schools and classrooms, but we also work in communities and workplaces to truly help build a kinder world, but in a very measurable way.
So how did you get started with this?
That's quite a story, but the condensed version, I've always been in the social impact nonprofit space. And about 7-8 years ago, I felt a deep calling on my heart that I needed to get back to the roots of what I thought were the most important thing we're created for, which is love and kindness. So total leap of faith and a supportive husband. I quit a job I loved to pursue this idea of a kinder world. And now I'm here with all of you today, many years later. So it's been an unbelievable journey.
So was there something in your personal or spiritual background? You said you felt a calling. Can you tell us more about that call, what it was in your background?
Yeah, so in the spirit of vulnerability, I grew up, I didn't know the terms at the time, but in a non-spiritual home, and at a young age embraced atheism, and for many years wanted to change the world, had a heart to do good, but I wasn't driven by anything other than something inside of me I couldn't quite put words to. And when I was in middle school, I experienced a lot of bullying, really traumatic things. At the time, there wasn't words for it. I just thought it was a part of growing up. But my spark was gone, and I fell into depression and drug addiction, and went from being someone who thought I would be first woman president at one time to no one thinking I'd make it past age 20. And in that time frame, I actually overdosed, and my family stepped in and knew that they would have to intervene if I was going to live and get out of the state that I was in. And I ended up discovering faith during that time, and I felt wired for something deeper and bigger by God, which was to reflect his character, which to me was this idea of kindness. But I really struggled with the black and white box of faith that I was given. I wrestled deeply with trying to understand why would religion separate people or say you're in and you're out. And I spent many years trying to reconcile this. And at the end of this, or throughout this, I kept coming back to this idea that the God that I was believing in didn't believe the things that the world was telling me. The world was saying God doesn't love all people, and God doesn't welcome all people. And I went on a walk on the ocean, which is my kind of sacred place with God. And I just said, what do you want me to do in this world to reflect you? What is it I can do to honor you that's true to you? And I felt very clearly 3 things. Love all people well, speak truth and encouragement, and inspire kindness and generosity. And it was with that mission that I knew I would spend my life until my dying day living those things out. I came home and said to my husband, I could be a taxi driver and do all of these things to every person who gets into my cab. So I didn't know what it would look like. I just knew I needed to wake up every single day trying to live and breathe these ideals.
That's an amazing story, Jaclyn. Thank you for being so open with us and telling us. I know that's difficult sometimes to talk about less than pleasant parts of our past, but it certainly informs what led you to co-found kindness.org. And thank you. I'm intrigued that you have a mission statement. Has that mission statement stayed consistent for you throughout all this?
Some days harder than others. My joke with my husband when we're in an argument and I'm getting quite heated is, I thought you're supposed to run kindness.org. So don't always live it. But no, I do try hard to stay true to it. And I founded Kindness before being a mom. And now I'm a mom to 2 incredible little boys, and it takes on a whole new meaning of the kind of world we're building and our contribution to how we're equipping children to lead with kindness across all aspects of life. So they've certainly been my daily reminder for this mission.
Kids do tend to change your life, and grandchildren. I know that. So you started in 2016. Tell me a little bit about the growth of the organization. How has it grown?
Yeah, so when we began, we focused first on research. So did a lot to invest into the idea of understanding what kindness is, how it's understood. We looked a lot around well-being, and again, going back to the evolution of kindness and trying our best to understand how kindness has helped us survive, not just survive as a society, but really thrive. We've invested into research that looks at kindness within politics, kindness within policing. We're doing some really innovative research in the Bronx around the role of kindness within community relationships and police. With the response to the death of George Floyd, we looked at civic kindness and the way that we can show up there. We did research on kindness across COVID and a pandemic and a crisis. So we're always trying our best to answer really big questions about how kindness shows up in these very complicated situations. And in that place, we've grown significantly by becoming an authoritative voice on our understanding of kindness in the world. We've published multiple research papers, have hundreds of citations. And I'm not a scientist, but that's been very humbling to see us position ourselves in that way. But our landmark program that I'm most proud of is how we apply the research. So there's a lot of great academic institutions studying kindness, but I'm really interested in what do we do with those findings? How do we equip people everywhere? And so we've created Learn Kind, which is a social emotional program being introduced starting at kindergarten, driven by evidence, the only program teaching children kindness by scientific inquiry. So it's not prescribing kindness to a child, which is quite difficult to do. Go be kind. It's really allowing them to immerse themselves in and understand it for themselves, and then go out into the world and apply it and choose it and remind them about the power of it. And since we introduced that program in 2020, we've now served over 300,000 students around the world, and we're active in 49 states. Alaska's our holdout. Equipping kids with these skills.
That's amazing. That's an incredible way to employ the research. Do businesses, companies also use this research?
Yes. So our other program, Work Kind, is how we collaborate with companies, and we support them both internally, looking at the role of kindness toward employee engagement. And we've had a lot of interesting case studies come out there. We've worked with brands like Verizon and Ulta Beauty and 23andMe, the genetics company, just to name a few. And then we also help them think about how they're integrating kindness externally to their consumers. And it's really interesting to sit at the table with companies like this, because you recognize all businesses are out for a bottom line, right? That's how our world exists. But when you can have them prioritize and speak about kindness, it really shifts the way the employees are showing up. And our most recent research study actually took 6 companies on a journey with us to study how important kindness is to staff. And all 6 companies, all sorts of industries, retail, tech, marketing, we studied at college. Across all 6 companies, people said that the kindness of their team mattered more than how much they were paid. So it's a reminder that you can build a company and care well for, or think you're caring well for people through paying them, but if you're not treating them well, none of that really matters. So it really does come back to how we're treated. I think we can all appreciate that.
Very much so. So kindness.org is a nonprofit. It's secular. It's not faith-based. Mm-hmm. And the schools and the companies that use it are not, for the most part, I guess, not faith-based.
Right.
But can kindness be a spiritual practice?
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that. And I understand you have an exercise for us.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I mean, I think, one, we're all waking up every day choosing how we're coming into the day. It is like any muscle and any spiritual practice, it's building upon it. And so we're going to do an exercise all together for those who are up for it. This is...
We'll put the slides up now?
Yeah, oh,
okay.
Great, thank you. So this is actually pulled from our school curriculum. And again, it starts at kindergarten. But I'm going to do this with you all today. And this, for me personally, it's a reminder that every single one of us has a story. And every single one of us is waking up and showing up each day carrying that story, living out that story. But we don't often know the story of everybody in front of us. We don't know what people are going through. And what we're doing at kindergarten, but it translates to everyone, it translates to me, to you, no matter what age you are, how are we bringing what we're going through into the world? How are we bringing it into our day-to-day? And when we start at the youngest of ages, kids are empowered to realize just how much they're showing up and affecting others. And when they see someone different than them or someone having a rough day, they can hold empathy and compassion. And so I'm really proud of what we've created here, and I'm really excited and honored to do it with you. So the exercise, the module, it's called What Emotion Did I Bring to Class? But as you can see, we switched it up to what emotion did you bring to church today? How did you come into church today? Okay, so yeah, we can go to the next slide now. Thank you. So this is going to be about identifying what's the number one emotion you're feeling. What did you carry in today? And I'm going to actually ask you all to close your eyes while I moderate this next bit, because I really want you to not be distracted as much as possible by what's going on around you. So if you're willing to go into this with me and just take a moment and close your eyes, we can go to the next slide. That'll help guide me. Thank you. I'm going to just ground us with a very short, we call it a mindful moment for the children, but a very short meditation. Just take one deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do that again. Breathe deeply in. 1, 2, 3. And hold. We're going to exhale. 1, 2, 3. Our third and final one, your biggest one, just deeply inhale from the stomach all the way in. 1, 2, 3, and hold. Deep exhale, just let it all out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. We always help children remember there's a lot you might be feeling and going through, but you can all take that 1 minute to just reset. Breathing does a lot physiologically, mentally, and emotionally to help ground you. So we can go to step 2 now. Let's just think about what you're feeling right now. Maybe in this moment what you're feeling compared to what you came in with. Were you rushed, bothered about the rain getting you wet? Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling hopeful? Are you feeling inspired, tired? Are you anxious, thinking about what you might be going through in your life right now, or the things that you're carrying or holding on to? And then the next page, we actually help kids think about all the different emotions you might be feeling. And we give them a reminder there's a lot of things out there, a lot of things going on inside that we might feel. The next slide, yeah, thank you, Jeremy. So it gives, again, just a wide range of ways that kids can be showing up, and you might feel lots of emotions at one given time. And we even say you might not see the emotion you're feeling, so we invite you to draw it. Being able to put words to what we're feeling allows it to be real and valid. So I think oftentimes it's really easy to be like, I have too much going on to feel. I don't want to distract, I don't want to overwhelm those around me with what I'm going through. But when we can hold the emotions and acknowledge them and affirm them, we can work through them. And that's the final bit, is realizing we all have a choice. And so then we want you to think about how that emotion influences how you show up day to day. What tone do you use? What's your body language when you're stressed? I know with my kids, they're like, Mommy, you feel so frantic, because when I'm stressed, I'm always like, wah. And it's a reminder of how we're reflecting those emotions externally, and also putting ourselves in the shoe of someone else and that empathy for others, remembering that other people are going through things, and we don't always know. We don't always know what someone's got going on. And lastly, we won't discuss it together, but that's part of what we do, is allow it to breathe, allow everyone to kind of exchange what's going on. Unless, right, we don't have time to discuss.
We've got a little time.
A little time? Okay, all right. Okay, so actually, yes, if you want to take a minute and just look to those next to you and share, if you're willing to be open, what you're feeling, what you're going through. Talk about that together, and we'll close out. Such a nice job. You did so professional and kind of together. I never would have thought that. But isn't that interesting? How were you feeling? I was feeling.
Your conversations. Take about 30 seconds to wind up your conversations. The final question. All right. Jaclyn's got a little bit more for us.
Okay, and so the final thing after the reflection is going back to choice and the power of choice within each of us, and remembering you can always do something about it. And we've got a lot of these journals submitted from kids all over the world. And when we launched it during COVID, I have to tell you, our team was so humbled because of the insights from the children. And a couple to share with you. A little girl wrote in, she was so angry because her birthday party had to get canceled because of COVID. And that's when she did this exercise. That was it was a virtual experience, and she was like, I'm so angry about this. But then she said, I can do something about it. I have the choice of what I want to do about it. And so she said, I want to do something virtual with my friends, and brought that idea to her mom. Is it possible? And her mom created an impromptu video experience, and she got to see some of her school friends for a virtual party. And she said, and I feel so joyful. So the anger to joy, and she then journaled about how much she didn't know she had the power to think about what to do with that, because she's like, I'm angry, and that's it. No, I'm angry and can do something about what I'm feeling. And I think that's the real power of this work, is we're all humans living, breathing here, bringing in our own stuff. And we all have the choices of how we're not only going to show up ourselves, but how we're going to show up for others.
So clearly, this transformed this individual little girl's life. Lots of children who participate in this program, companies. How can kindness change the world?
Yeah, I know it probably sounds idealistic, but I really believe kindness is our greatest asset. It is active. It is dynamic. I call it a meta value, of which it umbrellas over things like forgiveness, justice, integrity. These are big things, but all of it is us choosing it. We have to choose to forgive. We have to choose to reach across the aisle and see the person on the other side of our belief system. Kindness is a thing that transcends beyond race, religion, economic status, and political belief. It's the thing that can unite people across age and skin color, the thing that can unite people because it's connecting all of us
It is the connective tissue of humanity, and it's the one thing that we all have in common, if you will. We're all wired with kindness. That's the scientific fact. But as far as the human side of it, we are choosing it every day or not. And when you choose kindness, you're affecting your own well-being, the well-being of those around you, and it's considered to be the most effective way to improve the well-being of a subjective population. But the power is between you. It's up to you and your choices. So, idealistic perhaps, but truly convicted and certain it has the power to change the world, and it's up to each of us to choose that.
That is wonderful. So inspirational, Jaclyn. Thank you so very, very much.